and welcome. I am Tony Maiolo, corporate chef for Unox United USA, and I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about how our EVEREO works. We're going to walk through the many different functions of the EVEREO and how it can benefit you in your food service establishment. So today, first thing we're going to do is talk about the multi-day setting. So when we're talking about multi-day, we like to call the EVEREO the hot fridge. So if we think about that, that means that in a refrigerator, we hold food cold for multiple days, right, at a set temperature over a period of time. We're saying that with the EVEREO, we can do the exact same thing, but at a food service temperature. So above 140 degrees, above the temperature danger zone, keeping the food safe and not deteriorating over an extended period of time. Now, the first question is, how do we do that? And we do that with a few of our accessories, one being this beautiful multi-day pump that we will get into, and I'll explain in a little bit. But the most important piece of it would be our pans. To be able to utilize these pans to go with the pump to actually vacuum seal food hot, to remove the oxygen, to slow down the degradation of the product, is what allows us to be able to extend the shelf life of the product. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to build a lasagna, a traditional lasagna, just like anybody would in their food service restaurant, because we want to kind of set the scene, right? So if we think about how does this work and translate into the restaurant. We're in a hotel, we've got a big wedding coming up on Saturday. We know we don't have the labor force to be able to execute flawlessly. So with this gives us the ability to start prepping and preparing for this on Wednesday or Thursday. So what did we do on Wednesday? Wednesday we went ahead and made our sauces, because we know sauces like this do better reheated the day after. So we've got a beautiful beef ragu and our bechamel sauce here. We're going to build our lasagna, bake it off today being Thursday, and then this way we can then serve it on Saturday for our wedding. So let's get started with that. We're going to utilize our tray. This is a proprietary tray that we make, we manufacture. It's a higher grade stainless steel, because when we get to the pump, we're going to demonstrate why we need such a sturdy pan to be able to do that. So we're going to start off here with just a little bit of our bechamel in the bottom, get it dripped all around, and a little bit of our ragu, just to put across the bottom. Make sure you guys can see all that beautiful sauce. And then we're going to start laying in our sheets of pasta. Of course, they never fit perfectly, so we're going to do a little breaking, and then we're going to go in again with our sauces and start building those layers. You know, it's a traditional lasagna. This works for anybody's lasagna. We're not here to teach you how to make our proprietary lasagna or anything. This works across all the different recipes to be able to hold in a multi-day facet. So the big benefit here again is the thought process here is that we're doing this to be able to hold for multiple days so that we can utilize the product and make sure that it's not deteriorated, right? Because we want to make sure that it's still a good and servable product. Oh, we don't need to break that one. And we're good here. So we're just going to keep layering this in, and then we will pop it in the oven. So now we have our beautiful lasagna fully built together. We're going to put just a little olive oil on top, and then we're going to go into our oven here. So I've already got it preheated, and we're going to basically just go into our programs here on our Unox Combi oven. Go into our programs, select our lasagna program, and hit start. Then we can take our lasagna into the oven. In about 35 minutes or so, we'll have a beautifully baked lasagna that we will be able to vacuum seal and hold. So while that's baking, we'll do a little bit of chatting about how all that works, right? So that pan is a normal size half hotel pan. On top of that, we're going to put our multi-day lid. So this lid has a valve here in the top that allows us to extract the oxygen utilizing the pump. Also has a gasket here that's high temperature rated that we can actually place in the oven with as well so that it can sanitize. And by placing them together, it's going to make a nice seal on the edge that's going to allow us to vacuum seal the pan. So the way that we're going to do that is with this beautiful multi-day pump here. In this multi-day pump, there is a valve inside the wand that allows the Venturi effect to happen. Now, what is the Venturi effect? Think about the last action movie that you saw. The bad guy rips the door off the airplane, everything gets sucked out and pushed out of the airplane outside. That's the Venturi effect happening. High pressure of air on the outside, past an open valve, pushes the oxygen out. So with that, we have an air compressor down below that's going to push a high pressure air through the wand past this open valve that's going to allow us to pull the oxygen out of the pan. So since we're pulling the oxygen out and not physically sucking it out, that's what gives us the ability to vacuum seal the pan. Because we all know that if we put hot food in a normal vacuum sealer and run it through a cycle, the moisture in the air, the oils and things in the air are going to destroy the pump entirely. So by doing it this way, we're physically pushing the oxygen out of the pan, reducing the oxygen that's inside. That gives us the ability to then extend the shelf life up to 72 hours. So we'll be right back once we have this lasagna fully baked, and I'll show you exactly how that process goes. All right, and for our next recipe that we're gonna do some chicken tikka, again, because we're thinking about trying to get ahead. Multi-day mode allows us to be able to prep our food, get it hot, get it cooked multiple days in advance, so that's what we're trying to think. Again, if we're working off that same example of our wedding that's 3 days away, we've got our chicken that we started marinating on Wednesday. Today being Thursday, we're gonna go ahead and get it grilled. We have our sauce in our tray already, so we're gonna grill our chicken, get it into the sauce, vacuum seal it, and then put it into the EVEREO. So here we just have some beautiful chicken thighs that we've got marinated in some garam masala seasoning, a little lime juice, and some yogurt. And we're gonna get these into our combi oven. So first thing we're gonna do here is get our chicken program started. I've already got the oven preheated because we wanna make sure that that grill tray is nice and hot. And then we're gonna go straight into the oven here. You hear that beautiful sizzle, it means we know that our tray is nice and hot. And these guys are gonna get some nice grill marks on them to build some beautiful flavor. There we go. We're actually going to use our probe here to make sure that we get a good internal temperature and let that cook. Throw these out. Now, while that's cooking again, let's talk about this tray. So in here, we've already got our sauce made. It's in, ready to go. We started this again, made yesterday, into our tray, ready to go. Two different options here. We could throw this in, bring it up to temperature as well. Because we know we're not going to use this for a day or two, we're going to let the EVEREO actually kick in and do its thing to keep it nice and hot. So while the chicken is working, let's talk a little bit about the EVEREO itself. How do we set a program, right? So the first thing we're going to do is come up here and decide whether we're doing a multi-day program or a super holding program. So the first thing we're going to do is come over to our EVEREO, and we need to decide, are we doing a multi-day or a super hold? We haven't talked about super hold yet. That's coming. So let's go into our multi-day programs. Here is where we can save programs that our associates are going to constantly reuse for depending on what recipes we have. We're going to go to new. We're making a poultry, and this is going to be a grilled chicken program. Here we're going to have a decision to make of what temperature is the product as it goes into the oven, or into the EVEREO. So is it coming fresh out of the oven, from room temperature, or from refrigerated? These two we haven't gotten to yet, but we will explain later on in the video. So we're going to come out of the oven. We're going to change the name of our product to chicken so that we know what it is. And then we're going to change it. We're going to up our timer to 3 days so that we can have this last until Saturday. And then we have our parameters set, and we're going to simply press start. Now it's going to ask me select the tray. So my lateral supports are all numbered to keep things organized. We're going to go on tray 9, and then the EVEREO is going to kick in and start working. So now that we have our program set in our EVEREO, let's get back over here and check in on our chicken. Looks like we've got just under a minute left. And so we're going to pull it out. Once we pull the chicken out, we're going to go straight into our pan. It already has our sauce in it, ready to go. and then we're going to vacuum seal over here. Now again, let's remember, with the vacuum sealing process, we're going to force high pressure air past the open valve, push the oxygen out of the pan, allowing us to extend the shelf life. And then here we have our hot chicken, our hot sauce, everything ready to go. We're going to put our lid on top. Make sure it's got a nice seal on it because we want to make sure we're getting the correct seal here. We're going to come over to our multi-day pump, put our wand over the valve, and simply hit the button. So now that it's done sealing, you can see that our green LED indicator gave us the green light that everything's sealed properly. Had we for some reason not had a good seal, this would have turned red and shut down, so we would have known exactly that we didn't have a proper seal. You can hear the compressor kick off there, and now we have a vacuum sealed pan that's ready to go inside the EVEREO. So we'll pop our door open, we'll load our chicken in, and here it'll stay for the next 72 hours ready to go for us for future use. All right, now that our lasagna is almost ready to go, we're going to go ahead and make sure that our EVEREO timer is set. So again, we're going to come to our screen, start a multi-day into a manual program, down here to pastas. We have a lasagna setting ready to go. Again, coming out of the oven at a hot temperature, already set and ready with the name. So we're going to hit start. That program is going to get started. And we've got about a minute left on our lasagna. So now when it comes out of the oven, we're going to do just like we do in a restaurant, in a hotel. We're going to put our lid on top. We're going to make sure we get a nice seal on it, and then we're going to vacuum it with the multi-day pump. Again, this can be done in any kind of a setting as far as using it for large events that we're trying to prep ahead for. This can be done in a restaurant setting where we want to bulk prep all of our lasagnas on Monday so that we could use them throughout the week for up to 72 hours. So there's really different uses for this, and being able to stretch the product to limit the amount of prep and the amount of labor needed to do that prep. This also helps us reduce the amount of waste because instead of this having to go in the trash because it sat in the refrigerator for too long, it can stay here in the EVEREO nice and hot, ready to go, and be used as soon as the service needs it. So we've got about 20 seconds left to go on our lasagna, and we'll be ready to pull this out. Some of the other keys to kind of talk about, right, is that being able to hold here at food service temperature above 140 degrees, that allows us to stay above the danger zone to make sure that there's no bacteria growth. When we hold in the refrigerator, we're actually putting the bacteria to sleep, so we're below that danger zone, but we're actually not killing any bacteria. With this process, we know that it's not alive and our product is nice and safe. So let's pull this lasagna, show this here to you guys. Nice and beautiful, good caramelization, good color. We're going to put our lid on top and we're going to vacuum seal again. So after about 45 seconds to a minute, our pan is nice and vacuum sealed, and we're going to get this into the EVEREO. All right, now that our lasagna is in the EVEREO and the program is ready to go, we're going to transition to our next recipe, which is going to be our steamed rice. So for our rice recipe, this one's going to be super easy. We're going to take another one of our multi-day trays. We're going to take our measured out rice. We're using basmati because we want to work with our chicken tikka that we have. We're going to add our measured water. Just a pinch of salt. Give us a little life. And a splash of olive oil. Now, we're going to set our program real quick. Again, we've already got the oven preheated just to help move things along. We're actually going to use our Chef Unox program in our steaming setting under rice for basmati rice. Make this super simple. Now that the oven's ready, we go straight in. and we're good to go. About 27 minutes, we'll have our rice ready. While that's working, we can come back over here to our EVEREO and we can set the program for the rice as well. So now our next tray up is on rack 3. We're going back to multi-day, again a manual program, into our rice setting this time. And we have steamed rice that's going in fully cooked at oven temperature. We're going to leave it to stay steamed rice because it is, and we'll just hit start. And now that program's ready to go. So once the rice goes in, it'll be hot, fresh, ready for us in a couple days. And now that our rice is done, we're going to pull it out. We'll give it a little bit of a fluff. We just want to make sure that it's not completely clumped together. Give it some air involved so that when we vacuum seal it, it stays nice and fluffy, like so. And then we're going to get our lid. Now that it's nice and sterilized, and we're going to vacuum seal it so that we can put it in the EVEREO. And we're going to load into the EVEREO. Now with all of our prep done and everything loaded, we'll check back in a couple days when we have our event. All right, so we're back again. Today's Saturday. It's time for the wedding. So we're here to pull all of our trays that have been sitting for a day or so that we can pull them, pop open the vacuum seal, and then start plating things for our guests. So let's get started. First thing we're going to pull out is our lasagna. Remember, we built this from scratch. To release the vacuum, as you just heard, we pull this little tab here and just lift it straight up. You can use a spoon or a tongue. I just like to use my finger so we don't damage anything. And now you can see beautiful, nice, hot lasagna. Still looks great, still looks delicious. So we're going to plate here. Cut a portion out. See if I can do this without making a mess. Beautiful. Look at that. Gorgeous. And you can see that it's not deteriorated. It's not dried out. Pasta is still firm. We're going to give this just a little bit of parm on top. Now we can top this with some more sauce, maybe some mozzarella, and broil it. I'm just going to make a mess with some Parmesan and plate it beautifully here. Boom. So the next thing that we're going to do is our chicken tikka and rice. So first up, we'll pull the chicken and our rice. So again, pop our seal and lift the lid. Here we can see our rice, nice fluffy rice, not stuck together, not overcooked. We're going to put a little plate here. There we go. And then we can top with our chicken. Release our vacuum. Now in our chicken, it's just been sitting in this beautiful sauce. We can see that it's still nice, succulent chicken. Our grill marks are still on there. We haven't lost them. And we can plate a nice chicken thigh on here. What I want to do is kind of also cut into this so you can see nice, beautiful, still succulent, not dried out chicken thigh. Go. Clean up our mess. So again, this is just one of the functionalities that the EVEREO can do to help in your food service establishment. These things were sitting hot under vacuum inside the EVEREO for 48 hours, so we have plenty of time to be able to get other things done and get these done ahead of time and still serve a high quality, beautiful product to our guests. So please thank you very much. We appreciate you guys joining us for this video.